Rush Hour, starring Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, hit movie theaters in September of 1998. The comedy stylings of Tucker paired with the physical action delivered by Chan proved to be a potent force for box office success, as the film hauled in over $240 million worldwide, subsequently catapulting the careers of Chan and Tucker in the United States and generating 2 sequels over the next decade. Critics found the film to be harmless fun. Today, review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes deems it a kick-ass addition to the cop buddy film genre. Many people who saw the film remember it as a fun and enjoyable action comedy. What people may not realize is the fact that Rush Hour brought a rare dynamic into the world of film 18 years ago. 2 lead minority actors, an Asian and an African American, were positioned to lead a major Hollywood film, and mainstream audiences responded positively. How did this happen? While Rush Hour can be considered a milestone moment for 2 different minorities headlining a film, it's important to recognize what the film does to attract and protect white American spectatorship through the use of stereotypes and a binary ethnic relationship between its 2 leads.
All right. It's okay. It's all right. FBI. Take a picture. It's okay. Wait a minute.
By 1998, moviegoers were familiar with the buddy cop genre. Action films involving police as the main protagonist, or action cop films, were a dominant product in the 80s and 90s. They followed a tried and true formula that offered a safe and enjoyable experience for the casual moviegoer. Pairing 2 characters with different walks of life worked well. It wasn't before long that filmmakers began experimenting with different races and ethnicities sharing the spotlight during the surge of action cop films. White men were paired with black men. White men were paired with Native American men. White men were paired with older white men. White men were even paired with dogs. The buddy cop film seemed to be a recipe for box office payoff.
Thank you, God.
In his essay, Bullets, Buddies, and Bad Guys, Jeffrey Brown dissects action cop films by exposing their common story template. He points out the fact that action cop films have been overlooked as a legitimate film genre because of their financial success and lack of artistic value. He argues, quote, "But it is that very success and the lack of artistic pretensions that legitimate these formulaic movies as a specific genre and allow cultural studies a clear reflection of contemporary society." And here's the key line: "Show business is," he adds, "the business of showing people what they desire to see." Through a predictable 3-act structure, Brown concludes that action cop films, or buddy cop films, present a conflict and result in a happy resolution. Along the way, racial tensions are resolved by a common desire to defeat the enemy. If racial tension is present along the way, in the case of some buddy cop films, they are presented, quote, "more for a cheap laugh than as a mature concern."
Please tell me you speak English. I'm Detective Carter. Do you speak any English? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
The laughs are everywhere in Rush Hour, of course, and we'll get to that, but it's important to remember that this is an action comedy, and action is also a big part of the appeal towards mainstream audiences. Philippa Gates, in her essay The Asian Renovation of Biracial Buddy Action, argues, buddy cop films are known by and sold to audiences on the basis of their spectacular action sequences. The mere presence of Jackie Chan fulfills this ingredient. Gates concludes, the message of the Rush Hour films, however, is not necessarily multiculturalism, that is, Asian Americans easily and happily assimilated into mainstream American culture, but one of transnational cooperation. These are not Asian American heroes, but Asian heroes who become honorary American heroes. Lee, in order to find common ground with American audiences, must win them over with martial arts, thwarting a more identifiable foreign threat. Chan's international action star appeal aligns well with the desire of American audiences to see foreign enemies defeated by physical violence. And what about these foreign enemies? The main villain in Rush Hour, Juntao, is presumed to be foreign, as his Chinese name suggests. The threat of a Chinese drug gang fits into the yellow peril stereotype, which paints the picture of a fearsome East force attacking a Western society, including white Americans. However, spoiler alert, it is revealed later in the film that Juntao is actually a British crime lord by the name of Griffin, played by Tom Wilkinson. The curtain is pulled from one foreign threat, a Chinese crime lord, to another, a white, well-dressed, well-spoken Englishman, a common film trope in action films.
Hong Kong forever.
Regardless of Lee's nationality, American audiences can identify with the desire to take down an evil foreign crime lord, all while admiring the physical skills of Jackie Chan. 1997 marked the end of British rule over Hong Kong. Asian audiences can identify with Rush Hour's British antagonist. Meanwhile, American audiences easily identify with what can simply be reduced to a foreign enemy with a dialect different than their own. As James Lane writes on Babbel.com, there's something about a posh English accent that's just easy to dislike. It's also all really a common rebellion motif we've seen in many genres, including blaxploitation films of the 1970s, as well as many martial arts films. In their book, Afro-Asian Encounters, Shannon Steen and Heike Rafael Hernandez point out that Lee and Carter both act as a surrogate for whiteness in the Rush Hour films, stating, "We never know whether the ethnic speaks as itself or as a surrogate for whiteness. The dominant culture looks through black eyes at a yellow body, and an Asian model minority protects the mainstream from African American dysfunctionality." Steen and Rafael Hernandez consider Carter a minstrel. He's tasked with a job that his white superior wants nothing to do with.
An extra man, who would want such a bullshit assignment? Well, it's a disgrace to me. It's a disgrace to my department. It's a disgrace to... Dan, I'm sending someone right over.
Carter, as a result, is being functionalized by whites. Of course, as we've established, comedy needs to smooth over racial differences for their audience, and this comedy doesn't exactly come out unscathed. There are sacrifices to be made, and those sacrifices often manifest themselves as stereotypes. Robin Wiegman defines a stereotype as the reduction of complex cultural codes to easily consumable visual and verbal cues. Most of us know what a stereotype is these days, but Wiegman's definition illustrates what makes Rush Hour so consumable to mainstream audiences. Both Lee and Carter are, at times, almost a parody of their respective race and culture, which enables a platform for each character to view the other with confusion and ignorance. Lee exists as a by-the-book inspector. He values tradition. He can't deviate from his task. And of course, Lee is highly advanced in martial arts. In fact, the majority of Asian villains in Rush Hour conveniently know Kung Fu. On one hand, this makes for more elaborate fight sequences for Chan, which, as we've established, mainstream audiences love. On the other hand, it reminds viewers that being Asian and knowing martial arts should be assumed. They're also disposable in terms of being a means to an end for the sake of attractive violence on film. Carter is loud and obnoxious at times, as he tears down Lee's way of navigating through society through comedy.
You came all the way over here for nothing. You ain't gonna be on
Beach Boy.
Oh, hell no. You didn't just touch my goddamn radio.
The Beach Boys are great American music.
The Beach Boys gonna get you a great ass whooping. Don't you ever touch a black man's radio, boy. You can do that in China, but you can get your ass killed out here, man. I'm gonna show you real music. Yeah, that's real music. You hear that?
You ain't gotta be rich, but bump that. Help won't get around on your horse pass. So I put this on your mustache. Can you afford it? My hell is weapons.
Now, can you do that to the Beach Boys? Can you do that to the Beach Boys? Hell no.
Baby boy, you better get up, get out, do something. I like a lot of piranha.
In several scenes, we witness Carter as sexually charged as he flirts with women he encounters.
We can hang in my crib. I will show you my hood.
Now, you can show me a couple of them Chinese girls. When I get over there, I want a massage because I'm going to get buck wild.
Donald Bogle would recognize Carter's highly sexualized nature as indicative of the black buck stereotype. On the other side of the partnership, Lee is almost an asexual Asian action hero, which was ushered into American culture when Bruce Lee became a national sensation. The extreme representations, or stereotypes, both Lee and Carter have of their race while problematic for racial representation at times, is also what sets the table for white audiences to connect with both sides of the buddy cop relationship. It isn't just Lee and Carter that exhibit stereotypes. The world around both detectives has its shortcomings. For instance, when Lee and Carter enter a bar to inquire on some leads for their case, there's an awkward moment where Lee addresses the black man behind the bar.
What's up, my nigga?
What did you just say?
What's up, my nigga?
This moment in itself isn't racist. Lee is just completely ignorant of what he is saying and is simply taking Carter's lead as he addresses the other black men in the bar the same way. The problematic moment in the scene is when the bartender immediately retaliates with aggression, implying that black men are prone to acts of violence without the ability to critically examine an offense and discuss it. It's just another stereotype that Bogle has identified, the brutal black buck. Rush Hour erased the front and center whiteness on screen with the odd couple buddy cop formula, and it paid off at the box office. However, we can see that white spectatorship is still present, and in some ways is a disembodied voice throughout the film. While the film should be commended for taking risks on the casting sheet, the execution of multicultural advancement in Hollywood leaves a lot to be desired. Is it harmful? Not entirely. Is it helpful? I don't think it's designed to really advance multicultural values in film, but what Rush Hour did, if nothing else, was prove that a black and Asian lead is marketable, despite some racial pitfalls along the way. It changed the perception of what people desired to see in the business that is show business.
Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.